All right. So have you ever woken up and felt like dampness on your bed
Oh, yeah.
and you realize your older cat has peed there?
Oh, I've heard that can be a problem.
Again,
Yeah.
it's so frustrating, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people listening are probably nodding their heads right now because so many people with cats have dealt with this.
Yeah.
But I've learned that this is almost always a sign our cat is trying to tell us something.
That's so important to remember, right?
Yeah.
Like as a cat owner, you can get upset.
Yes,
Right?
of course.
You're like, why are you doing this? This is my bed.
Yeah, why are you peeing on my bed?
But it's rarely out of spite, right? It's like they're trying to communicate.
Yes, it's communication.
Something's not quite right.
Yeah.
Either physically or emotionally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in this deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to unpack the reasons behind this behavior,
Okay.
why an older cat might start peeing on the bed,
Yeah.
and we'll explore everything. Potential health issues, changes in their behavior, and the stressors.
Right.
Because our cats, especially older cats, they can be sensitive.
Yeah. Very much so.
Now, if you are dealing with this right now
Yeah.
and you want some extra help,
Mm-hmm.
I do have an ebook. It's got a lot of detailed strategies to help stop this behavior.
Okay.
You can find the link to that in the comments section.
Great.
So our goal here, like with all our deep dives, is to help you understand
Yeah.
what might be going on with your cat and then ultimately what the solution is.
Because a lot of times I think we just think like, oh, it's just that cat being a cat.
Right.
And it could be so many different things.
Well-
So having like a structured way to think about this
Yeah.
can really make a big difference in figuring out what's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's start with the area that probably everyone listening's thinking of,
Okay.
which is their physical well-being.
Sure.
Could there be a health issue going on?
Yeah.
And it turns out medical issues are a very frequent trigger.
And I think what's so important to remember is that what can look like just a behavioral thing, like, oh, the cat is acting out,
Right.
can actually be something physical going on.
Right.
So, for example, UTIs, right?
Yeah.
Urinary tract infections.
Yes.
These are really common in older cats.
Okay.
And the discomfort of those infections can lead to these weird behaviors.
And I've read that these infections can make urination painful.
Uh-huh.
And then, because it's painful, the cat might associate the litter box with pain.
Right,
So they'll choose a softer spot, like our beds.
right.
And then they think, oh, this isn't pain.
It doesn't have that negative association.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not that they're being defiant.
Right.
It's just they're thinking, well, this isn't painful.
Right, exactly. It's like
Yeah.
they're just trying to be more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even read this one story about a cat named Charlie
Okay.
who started peeing on the bed for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And the owner took him to the vet. And it turns out he had a UTI. And they gave him antibiotics. And he stopped peeing on the bed.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how much a simple course of antibiotics can clear that right up.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, another common medical concern with older cats
Uh-huh.
is kidney disease.
Yes.
And I understand that as cats get older, their kidney function can decline.
Yeah, naturally, just as part of aging. Yeah.
Right. And this leads to an increase in thirst.
That's right.
So they're drinking more, and then obviously they urinate more frequently.
That's right.
So their litter box habits change. And sometimes they just can't make it to the box.
Yeah. It's not that they're trying to avoid the box, it's just that the urge hits them and
It's physiologic.
it's physiological.
Right. And it's really important to get a vet's diagnosis for kidney disease because managing it involves dietary changes, sometimes medication,
Yeah.
just to support their kidney function.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, another medical factor that can contribute to this is diabetes.
Oh, right.
And just like with kidney disease, diabetes can lead to more thirst and urination.
You'll often see with cats with diabetes, like they're constantly at the water bowl.
Oh, really? Okay.
You know, they're just drinking so much more than usual.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there anything that can be done about that?
Yeah. I mean, the good news is with veterinary management,
Oh,
often
absolutely.
involving insulin
Yeah.
and dietary changes, diabetes in cats can be really effectively controlled.
Okay, so there's hope.
Yeah, there's definitely hope.
If your cat is diagnosed with diabetes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, we've talked about a couple of the big ones,
Uh-huh.
but there's a whole bunch of other health issues
Right.
that could be at play here.
Absolutely.
So I've learned that arthritis, for example, could make it painful for an older cat to get into the litter box.
Yeah. Especially if it's one of those with like the high sides,
Right.
you know, and they've got to jump up. If they've got arthritis, it can make it hard.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah.
Now, I know some people listening, they've taken their cat to the vet. The vet's given them a clean bill of health.
Right.
And they're still peeing outside the litter box.
Yeah.
So let's move on to behavioral factors.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is where we start to think about like their environment.
Right.
Or their emotional well-being.
Exactly.
And how that might be influencing their litter box habits.
That's right.
So one of the biggest ones is litter box aversion.
Okay.
Which, when you think about it, makes total sense.
Yeah.
We all have certain standards for our own bathrooms, and cats are no different.
Yeah, exactly. Like if their litter box isn't clean,
Yes.
they are not going to want to use it.
Right. And if it's not clean, that's probably the number one thing.
Yeah, I think that's a big one.
Now, accessibility is another factor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially for older cats. If it's got high sides and they're having joint issues,
Right.
they might not be able to get in.
Eggs.
Now, another one is the litter itself.
Okay.
Cats can be really picky.
They can be so picky about the texture, the scent of their litter.
I even heard about this one cat, and you're not going to believe this.
Okay.
He started avoiding his litter box because his owner changed the litter brand.
Oh, wow.
So what might seem like a small change to us is actually a big deal.
Then it's huge. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, another behavioral aspect is territory marking.
Okay.
Now, I always thought that was more of like spraying.
Yeah, I mean, spraying is a really common way for cats, especially if they're not spayed or neutered, to mark their territory.
Okay.
But older cats, particularly if they're feeling insecure, might use urination as a way to mark their territory.
Oh, interesting.
And, you know, your bed carries your scent.
Yes.
It's a safe space for them.
Yes.
So when they're feeling insecure, maybe there's new pets in the home or there are changes in the outside environment, they might pee on your bed just to kind of reinforce their presence.
To be like, this is mine.
Exactly. This is my safe space.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've explored medical and behavioral.
Uh-huh.
Now let's talk about the third one. Stress or anxiety.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we don't realize just how sensitive cats are to any changes in their environment or routine.
They really thrive on consistency, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like moving to a new house is obviously a big one.
Yeah.
But even something like a new family member, a change in your work schedule, or even loud noises like thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Those can really stress them out.
It's amazing what can trigger anxiety in a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So their sense of security can be affected.
Right.
And like we were saying, your bed is your scent. It's a safe place for them.
Yeah.
So when they're feeling anxious, they might pee there.
It's almost like a way for them to self-soothe.
Yeah.
You know, they're surrounded by your scent. So it gives them a sense of comfort and security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I even heard another story about Charlie.
Okay.
Apparently, he would pee on the bed whenever there were thunderstorms.
Oh, yeah.
Poor Charlie.
I mean, that's classic, right?
Yeah.
It's the loud noises. They get anxious.
Yeah.
And they seek out your scent.
Yeah.
Because it's familiar. It's comforting.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've talked about why.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's move on to solutions.
Okay.
What can we do to stop this?
Yeah.
So what I've learned is that the best way to deal with this is a multifaceted approach.
Okay.
We need to think about medical, behavioral, and environmental.
Right. All three.
All those three areas we just discussed.
Yeah.
So let's start with medical treatments.
Okay.
First step, like we said, is to go to the vet.
Absolutely.
Rule out any medical issues.
Yeah.
So if your cat has a UTI, they'll probably need antibiotics.
Mm-hmm.
And then for conditions like kidney disease or diabetes, your vet will come up with a treatment plan.
That's right.
Which could be medication, diet changes, or insulin.
Yeah.
Okay, so once we've addressed those, let's move on to behavior modification.
Okay.
What can we do there?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is to create positive associations with the litter box.
Okay.
So, you know, spending time with your cat, playing with them, petting them.
Yeah.
Just being present with them can reduce their anxiety.
Okay.
And then when they do use the litter box, reward them.
Okay.
Give them a treat or just verbal praise.
Okay, so positive reinforcement.
Exactly.
Don't get mad at them.
No, definitely not.
Don't scold them.
No.
Okay.
It's just going to make things worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about the environment.
Okay.
What can we do to change their environment to help them?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just making sure that their litter box is clean and easy to access.
Okay.
And that it's in a quiet location. So, you know, for older cats, maybe get a litter box with lower sides.
Right, right.
So it's easier for them to get in and out.
And it's interesting, even just moving the litter box
Yeah.
to a less busy area of the house could make a difference.
It could, yeah.
Now, I also read that sometimes it's a good idea to have an extra litter box.
Yeah, especially if you have a big house.
Right.
Or, multiple floors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1 per cat plus 1.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I've also heard that pheromone diffusers can help.
Yeah, pheromone diffusers can be really helpful.
Okay.
Because they release these synthetic versions of natural cat calming signals.
Okay.
So it can create a more calming environment for your cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've given people a lot of tips.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you want more tip and a more structured approach,
okay,
we do have that ebook,
right.
the Cat Spray Stop ebook.
Uh-huh.
And it's got a lot more detail about these solutions.
Okay.
You can find that in the comments.
Sounds good. Okay. So I think it's important to talk about when to go to the vet.
Yes, yes.
Like, when is it absolutely essential?
Yeah.
What are the red flags?
Okay. So, like we said, any medical issue, go to the vet.
Yeah.
And then, if there's any noticeable changes in their urination habits,
right.
like going more often, straining blood,
yes,
definitely go to the vet.
Absolutely.
Increased thirst in urination could mean kidney disease or diabetes.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, it's also important to pay attention to behavioral changes.
Uh-huh.
So if you notice they're more lethargic, more irritable, hiding more, that could be a sign something's wrong.
Absolutely.
And even if there aren't huge changes in their urination,
right,
you should still go to the vet.
Because sometimes the behavioral changes can be really subtle.
Yeah.
And they can be a clue that something's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you think stress is the issue, and you've tried everything at home and it's not working, go to the vet.
Go to the vet. Yeah.
Okay.
They might be able to prescribe anti-anxiety medications.
Okay.
Or have some other strategies for managing stress.
So we don't want to just dismiss this as a quirky behavior.
Right.
Like, it could be something serious.
Especially in older cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems like understanding why an older cat might be peeing on the bed means being a detective.
Yeah.
We need to consider all the possibilities.
That's right.
Could it be medical?
Uh-huh.
Could it be behavioral?
Yeah.
Could it be stress?
Yeah.
And, of course, the first step, we'll say it again, is to go to the vet.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then we can make changes to their environment. We can address their litter box aversions.
Yeah.
We can try to reduce stress.
Exactly.
We're trying to create a safe and comfortable environment for our cats.
That's the goal.
Where they actually want to use the litter box.
Exactly.
Now, if you're going through this right now and you want more help,
we do have that ebook.
Great.
It's the Cat Spray Stop ebook. And it really goes into depth on all of this. So check that out.
That sounds good.
Okay, now, I want to leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
Pay attention to any other changes.
Well,
not just peeing on the bed.
Right.
Any changes in their behavior, their health.
Because those could be clues as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like we've been saying, peeing on the bed is a signal.
That's right.
It's a sign that something needs your attention.
Exactly.
And if you want more information about that and other solutions, you can check out that Cat Spray Stop ebook.
Sounds good.
The link is in the comments.
Great.
So I hope this deep dive has been helpful.
Be.
I know dealing with this can be frustrating.
Yeah.
But just remember, your cat is trying to tell you something.
That's right.
And with a little detective work and maybe some help from our ebook, you can figure out what it is.
That's right. And help your cat feel better.
Absolutely.